So you hear us talk about the idea of your product a lot. Now, when we talk about positioning, I think there's so much time wasted on this template versus that template, on this approach versus that approach, but all of it ignores the essential problem of positioning, which is you need to find an idea for your drug. Now, when I talk about the idea, you think about the idea of something. It embodies the essence, it embodies the way that you communicate it embodies the way that people think about it. And often you see positioning that's got no idea in it. It's just that we're the best X for patients that want to do Y so that they can get their lives back. And there's no idea in that proposition. So we talk about the idea of your drug because it gets past all of that nonsense about templates and so on. But what it forces you to do is to take a product and say, well, what is the idea of this product in the future, and could we make that idea exist? So could we study this drug in this population and produce this endpoint? Could it have this self-expressive benefit to the stakeholders that we want to take it to? Now, all of that gets past that kind of in that very technical academic conversation where it's really easy to fill in templates, it's really easy to ask the market what they think about your TPP and then say, well, that's the most motivational thing that you come up with. All of that ignores the point that you need to take out different ideas of what your product could be to that market and then see how they respond. And that's your job, that's our job, is to help you come up with some ideas that express the value of your product in the future against the competitor set that no one knows yet, that you don't know yet, that certainly your audience doesn't know yet. But more importantly, to craft an idea of your product that they don't know yet and they couldn't possibly derive just from looking at the TPP or from other ways that you might express that. So it's our job to come up with some ideas that we can evaluate, see how they play, see how they could be improved by your audience looking at them going, that's interesting, but what if it did this as well? That's how we come up with compelling positionings, is by starting with compelling propositions that we then take to a market and then see what they might do with that. That's what positioning is. It's not templates. It's about conception of an idea of your product that thinks about different indications, that thinks about places within the indication, that thinks about value proposition. And when you think about the value proposition and the positioning, it's the same thing. It's a statement of value to an audience. Now, value proposition, unfortunately, has been hijacked as if this was a payer-based project. It's not. You have to express your value to not just payers, but to physicians and patients and all the other stakeholders. The fact that one has a financial value, in essence, tells you about price. It doesn't tell you about value. Price comes after you understand the value of your product. So when you've got an idea, a deep, resonant, meaningful idea for your product that you've projected forward to a new competitor mind space, that's when you have a positioning. And that's why 99% of the positionings we see are not even worth the paper they're written on. It's because people can't communicate the idea of their drug despite having a positioning. So they don't therefore have a positioning.